The LM1 launch monitor from Shot Scope. It has been one of the most talked about products of 2026. It's a £200, $200 launch monitor. It's absolutely tiny, it's super portable, super easy to use, and there's been a lot of really positive reviews of this online. But my question is it that cheap for a reason? Is this actually a product that's going to help your golf game, that's going to be worth it, and is something that you might want to look to invest in this year? Now, if you're in the market for a launch monitor, they can set you back tens of thousands of pounds, like absolutely absurd amounts of money. Whereas the Shot Scope LM1 is on the other end of the scale, only costing £200, $200. Now that said, although it's way cheaper than the majority of launch monitors out there, that is still a chunk of money. And if you're going to be spending that, you want to know that it works, it's going to work for you, and it's going to be right for your golf game. Now, there are a lot of really positive things with the LM1, which we will go through, but there's also a few little things that I just think are important to note because they could be the reason that you decide this product is not right for you. Today, we are really going to put the LM1 to the test. We're comparing it to the gold standard, the GCQuad. We're also going to test it outdoors on a variety of different lies, different conditions to see what this device can really do and where its limitations lie.
So first things first, this thing is absolutely tiny in the setup. It comes in this nice little pouch, you can unwrap it, and here we go. This is our entire system. It is minuscule, especially when we put it next to something like the quad that is this big bulky piece of machinery. It's very light, it's very small, very portable to move around, and it also only takes about 30 seconds to set up, which I would say is pretty impressive. So all we're going to do, flick its legs out so it's got something to sit on. We're going to power it on through the little buttons here. There's literally only a couple buttons so that you can go up, down, and then turn on. Start session, yes, we're going to say that we're on the practice range, but there are various other settings here which I will take you guys through as well. Onto the practice range, done. So to start off, we are indoors. I've actually got 2 systems on the go. I've actually got 3 now, including the LM1. So what we have here, you probably can't see it from the camera angle. We've got a Pro Tee up at the top, and we've also got the Foresight GCQuad down here at the bottom. Now, I use the Pro Tee because it gives me the graphics and everything like that. You can get that with the quad, but I use that as like a portable thing for if I'm going out on the golf course. The quad is kind of like the gold standard, and 99% of the time, the numbers that I get from the two are the same. If there are any differences there, I always mention it, but basically, there's nowhere for the LM1 to hide. I think it's actually picking up a few things because I am kind of moving the club around as I swing, which it's not liking, so it thinks I swung that 28 miles an hour. Okay, that's fine. It is picking up the club head speed, which is quite impressive because actually with the quad, you don't get the club head speed unless you put the stickers on the club head. So it is impressive that you're getting that in the first place. It also means that there is a pure like long drive speed training system on it. You don't even need a golf ball for that. You're just swinging as hard as you can and you're using your speed to kind of track your progress. But in terms of the systems that we have compared to the LM1, both the GCQuad and the Pro Tee are camera-based systems. With the GCQuad, it's the quad because there's 4 cameras, 4 very, very powerful cameras. And so when you set the ball up here and you hit it, it's going to use this little area here. It's essentially going to track the ball, where it moves, and that's where it gets all the parameters from. That's where it gets the speed, the spin rate, and from that, from everything it gets from the camera system, it can then calculate things like the distances. The difference with the LM1 is it's a Doppler system. So as I hit the ball, because it's directly behind here, it's going to track as the ball goes here. It's going to see where the ball is going, and that is where it gets all of its data from. Now, there is a big difference there, and it is the reason that I will not be taking the quad out onto the golf course later, because even though we're in the middle of a heat wave here in Scotland, we're still in Scotland, which means it's always windy. It's never not windy in Scotland. And essentially, the quad is always going to give you stats that are normalized as if you are in a box, because it's calculating things and it's using the image of what it's getting right there at impact. Whereas with the LM1, it is tracking the ball as it goes. The 2 numbers would likely be different when you take them outside and you're putting them in different conditions. But because the quad is going to give us the shots you would get when you're stuck in a box in perfect conditions, that means that we can actually compare the 2 of them together, and that is what we are going to do to start here. Now, obviously I have this set up with a screen, a projector, I can see what's happening through that. But something that's really cool with the LM1 is that you can connect it up to your phone, it stores all the data so that you can see what's happening and also get stats for each individual club. So over time, you would build up like a profile of how far all the clubs in your bag are going. But are the numbers actually accurate? Let's see what we've got here. So ball speed, these are kind of the key ones we're looking at. Ball speed, 74.2. Ball speed, 72.7. Not too far out, not too far out. Club speed, 55.8 says the LM1. That is a little bit different, isn't it? 68 versus 55.8. Okay, that's all right, that's all right. Carry, we're looking at 85. Total of 86. Never, ever, ever will I hit a full wedge shot and it only run out 1 yard. That is something that I've noticed with some of the wedge shots, is that it definitely thinks I'm a little bit better than I am in terms of the spin rate. The other thing is that the LM1 doesn't actually show spin rates, which if you were going to be using this as like a super high elite athlete and testing between clubs, being a fitter, something like that, yes, you'd probably want to use the spin rate and see that. But as just like a casual golfer who maybe just wants a little bit of fun to see how far they're hitting and go up against their friends, something like that, or just kind of get to know their numbers a little bit better, I don't feel like the spin rate is massively important. I always say as we go through stats, like if the shot is okay and you're not in any trouble, the spin rate is probably one of the least important if it's varying and moving around a little bit. So I wouldn't say we're too worried about the spin rate not being there. Obviously those distances there weren't quite on. Let's give it another chance. Oh, that was a bit of a tug. That's all right. Let's see how the LM1 gets on with not so much of a clean shot. 88 carry versus 85 carry. Not far, not far. Ball speed, the ball speed is pretty good. So we've got 73 on the LM1 versus 74.4 here. Again, it thinks that I've only rolled out 1 yard. I would love it if I had the wedge control of that, but unfortunately I don't, and that's okay. Now, something that is quite impressive with the LM1 is there seems to be a much bigger area of where the device is able to actually pick up the ball and track the data. Whereas with the Quad or with the Pro T, there's a very specific little section that I can actually hit from where it's gonna pick anything up. Now that was one of my big apprehensions with the LM1 because there's nothing that tells you when it's ready. With the Quad, you see on the screen, you see exactly if the ball is in the hitting zone. If it's too far out, it tells you exactly where it is so that you can move it back. With the LM1, there's nothing to tell you until you hit the shot and the data is either there or it's not. But what I found is that you have to be really, really far out for it to not pick up the data, as in at such an angle or way too close, way too far back for like, to a point where you would know, you would look at that and say, yeah, this is not set up right before you even hit. Okay, 120 carry, that is saying 118. Pretty good for the carry. 91 ball speed versus 93.7. It's overestimated me a little bit there. 76 club speed versus 70 club speed. That is quite an overestimate as to how fast I am hitting that. The carry is pretty good, I would say. Like the error of margins there, I'm pretty happy with. That ball speed and the club speed, you can just see jumping up a little bit. I've also just realized that I didn't change that. So let's just update that there to the right club. Okay, another decent shot there. It's actually given me some total this time that's different. It's given me 5 yards of rollout. Club speed 80 versus 73. It's inflated me there a little bit. Same with the ball speed 98. It has inflated versus 95 for the real. Little bit odd that it's given me my total when I changed it. When it was in the sandwich setting, it was giving me no total. Let's go back a second. Right, 121. It's gonna roll out to 130. 92 ball speed. It's inflated my ball speed and it's done the same. Same carry, same total. Anyone see the pattern? Anyone see the pattern yet? I'll give you 2 more shots and then you can tell me if you can see the pattern here. 97 ball speed, that's giving me 99, not too much of an inflation, but a little bit there. 129 carry, 136 total, and yet That thinks I've even rolled 1 yard back on myself. But if we put it into the 8 iron setting, we move it up. That was a pretty good shot. 131 carry, 98.6 ball speed. Ah, suddenly I magically have a total. 141 total, which is all right. 138, 131 carry versus 135, 100 ball speed versus 98.6 ball speed. I feel like the ball speeds are generally pretty good and the carries are usually okay, but as you do get to longer and longer shots, you do just see sort of some disparities coming out there a little bit. You've got to remember, we are indoors. Shot Scope says you can use this both indoors and outdoors, so I'm just testing to that, but there's definitely limitations here, okay? And we're just sort of seeing that come into action. All right, not my best swing ever, but it'll do for a little comparison. 136 ball speed, basically. 216 carry, 216.8. That's not ideal, is it? 141 ball speed. If I hit anything over 140, I'm celebrating. That's one of my best shots. That I can see from where I've struck that, and I also felt that. That did not go 140. And obviously, we've got the difference there. It thinks it's rolled back on itself 2 yards. Lo and behold, we actually have a total this time. Numbers are a little bit sus. Definitely, once again, overestimating my ability. 139 ball speed compared to the real ball speed of just under 135. Total length 232. This is saying 244. It has this habit of always overestimating me a little bit, and I'm glad to see that it is always above. Like the speed is always a little bit faster. That club head speed is way, way faster, but it is always a chunk above. It's never below where it should be until you move it into the wrong setting, and that seems to throw off the totals more than anything else. Definitely some limitations. I will run you through it all in a conclusion at the end of the video, but for now, let's head out onto the golf course and see how the LM1 performs there. Now, obviously, I know my stats pretty well. I know what I'm expecting from my driver, especially when it comes to the ball speed, which seems to be the thing that is most out. But I do also have 2 volunteers down there who are going to help me by weighting where the ball lands so that we can see exactly how far it's gone and how accurate the LM1 really is. Right, that's a little bit high. Just gone out to the right there. He's got it. You know what? 134 ball speed is what it's saying. And I was going to say 133, 134. So I'd say that's pretty good. Our volunteers are down there. That's 211 to the landing. And the LM1 is saying 215. That is pretty impressive. Now, that was probably a faster swing, but a worse strike. 225 on the carry, 244 total. And my lovely assistants are stood at 222. Okay, it definitely performing better outside, and those carry numbers are way closer. The difference of only 2-3 yards you would 100% take for that cost. I would say that's okay. The carry's good, totals are looking good. I am just convinced that the totals are more calculated based on the club that you tell it you're using more than anything else. But again, £200, pretty good. This is something I actually haven't tested in the time since I've had the LM1, and it was just as I was walking past the bunkers that I thought, I kind of want to know if it picks it up. So what I've done, I've put my trolley out there. It's at 30 yards exactly from here. Let's see if we can get anywhere close. I'll be really impressed because I feel like there's just so much going on here that it's surely got to be hard for it to pick anything out. Okay, not my best start. That has gone a good 10 to 15 yards further than the trolley. And that said, 44 yards carry, 46 total. So remember that 46 and I will pace it out. Oh. Well, it didn't pick that one up. You know what it did pick up? It picked up my club speed. It didn't pick up anything else. So club speed, it's saying 53.8, ball speed 0, smash factor 0, carry 0, total 0. Because I guess there's just too much going on there with how much sand came out to actually warrant it being able to pick anything up, because it'd just be messing up the data there. Okay, that has landed 10-ish yards short, maybe a little bit more than that, 10, 15 yards short. This is saying that it's carried 10 yards, total 13. This is about 13 yards, so it's not totaled 13. It's actually closer to 30 because it's right by my golf trolley. 47, I don't know if it's gonna pick that up. I don't know if my mic reaches that far. 47 yards total. That is very, very close to what the LM1 said. Obviously, the two that were a little bit more chunky and took more sand, they were nowhere close. The one that said 13, no, it's carried more than 13 yards. And it just seems like when you're getting more stuff in the way. I have been testing this out in like semi and in rough, and it's kind of the same story that if you take a load with you as you swing through it, it upsets the system. So you do need to have nice kind of clean strikes. But to be fair, I don't really know why somebody would be choosing to use that from super deep rough, from greenside bunkers when you're going to be taking a lot of sand. It makes sense from the tech that we actually have in this that it's going to struggle to pick up those shots. But impressive that on the one that was struck a little bit cleaner, even though we were taking sand with it, it was very, very accurate. So to finish off, let's go and have a look at some of these shorter wedge shots, that 100 yards and in pitching, because that is where I feel as the LM1 shines. Definitely outside, but also, as we saw earlier, it does pretty well inside too. You may be wondering why, if you look on the green, you can actually see a ball there, and you can also see that I have already been hitting shots because I just did my entire test and the camera wasn't recording. So we're going again on this. I can tell you that the LM1 did very good in the one that we just did, so I'm hoping that it can do just as well now. We have got a shot that is 90 yards to the pin. It's 80 yards to the very, very front. So a little bit of a tricky shot, but very good to test how good the LM1 is going to be in terms of the short game. There's, you know, under 100 yards, little delicate shots. Okay, well, at least it's consistent with the test that I did earlier, which was sending a couple balls into the bunker. Now that has landed pretty much kind of pin high with the front of the green. So this is saying 75. We know that the front of the green is about 80. So somewhere between 75 and 80. I probably would have put that at around 77 maybe for the carry, but coming out at 75 is pretty good, I would say. Another one just flared kind of out to the right. Again, that has rolled out to pin high, so not bad in terms of the shot result, but a little bit short in terms of the landing spot, around 80 yards. This is saying 75 with a total of 76. So again, it's a tiny, tiny little bit out. I would say that the carries are generally pretty good. The totals, that's where the problem lies. You're not really getting too much good information there, but my argument to that is if you were using this to really dial in your wedges and see the distances, it's really only the carry that matters, because the total will be different on different days, different conditions, different courses, things like that. The carry is the thing that you need to know. A lot more consistent, a lot closer with the wedge shots, which is really nice because I definitely think golfers could benefit from dialing that in and working that through. The only thing to remember, again, there are limitations with this. If you set it up on something that has quite an aggressive slope, like a downhill lie, it is going to struggle with the numbers. I tend to find that they either go quite far off or you just don't pick up the ball at all.
So final thoughts on the LM1. Who is this for, and who is this more importantly not for? I would say it's great for golfers who want something to just give them an indication of their numbers. The carry is pretty good. Now, yes, it isn't exactly the same as the GCQuad, or it maybe isn't 100% accurate. But if it's only going to be 1 or 2 yards out on the carry, I would say that is a really, really strong contender for the price that you're looking at. Yes, my ball speed indoors is a little bit too high, but I can bear that in mind when I'm looking at it. Out on the golf course, it was pretty good. It was what I would be expecting to see. It's also great in the setup. It's so easy to transport around, so small. It fits into your golf bag. It's barely bigger than a mobile phone. It's so accessible in that sense, which again, great for people who just want to take it out on the course and just have it there to know their distances and maybe tracking a little bit of progress. Also great, of course, for people who want that speed training function just to see how fast they are moving the golf club. Limitations, however, as we found through testing, the total, obviously it's going to come from a calculation from an algorithm that is programmed into the LM1, but what I found with having the wrong club selection kind of shows that it is a lot of guesswork and it is a lot of standardization for each shot based on the club that you're using. It's not going to be super accurate, but I would say the carry distance is more important. And obviously every launch monitor is going to calculate your turtle from the parameters it gets. It just feels a little bit less sophisticated the way that the LM1 is doing it. But it is also several thousands, tens of thousands of pounds cheaper than some of the models we're comparing it to. So that's maybe one of the limitations, but I think that is more than acceptable for the price tag that you're paying. Also, if you were considering this for maybe teaching or fitting, it's not giving you 100% accurate numbers. It's giving you pretty close, which is a really good sign, but it can't give you, for that amount of money, it surely can't give you everything and it can't be perfect, because if it is, why on earth are we paying £15,000, £20,000, £25,000 for some of the other launch monitors out there? There has to be a step back from that. Overall, I think it's a really cool product. I was especially impressed when we took it outdoors and saw the accuracy there, the ease to use, the quick setup, everything like that. So if that sounds like something that you would consider using it for, I think this could be a really good product to consider investing in this year. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and I will see you guys in the next video.